Good morning, Gene.
Good morning, Jim. Great to see you. Uh, Jim, if you have a few minutes, let's quickly back and forth on the idea of product ownership, area product ownership as it's implied in large scale Scrum and LeSS Huge. I have been bumping into this challenge with a handful of my clients over the last couple of years. I'm sure you have seen something similar as well, specifically about where to get good and great product owners and area product owners. What organizational area should they really come from?
Definitely product
do you have
management.
any thoughts on
And
this?
by
Do you have
that,
any
if we're talking like an external facing product, someone who is aggregating the demand from the multitude of users, the thousands and hundreds of thousands of users, and doing that. If it is an internal product, this might be someone who's like head of finance, maybe a CFO that's related to a financial package that you're working on. But it is someone who has, like profit and loss accountability for what's going on, someone who is providing high-level intent to the teams and leaving it up to the teams to do the elaboration. As far as we would fully expect much of the items on a product backlog are flushed out by the teams themselves, directly interacting with the users.
Thank you, Jim. Any particular omissions or oddnesses or dysfunctions that you have seen around this? Like, for example, people that are really not properly positioned organizationally, not having enough, not only expertise also comes into this, but also authority and empowerment being thrown
Yes.
or being assigned this
all the
not
time.
a trivial role. Any
So
experience with that?
you will have people who are really business analysts.
Could you give some examples?
Who
Yeah. Mm?
believe that it's their role to detail out these fine-grained requirements. And as you do that, it's true that you prevent the engineers from having to spend time on that, but you also eliminate that rich understanding of the need that comes by the teams directly interacting. Similarly, you will see. That's the big one. You will see. Sometimes you might even see project management play that role. But again, as with the business analyst role, these teams are self-managing or should be self-managing. And the more accountability and responsibility that you take away from them, the more you disempower them, the less adaptable that the organization is going to be in the long term. And it may serve a local optimization, but in the global, ensuring that you have at a global level the most adaptable organization possible that delivers the most value possible, it's self-defeating.
Yeah. Thank you for that. I actually like you referenced some of the better candidacies to become a PO and then a product owner, area product owner, like head of marketing, head of sales, or head of business operations, perhaps. Someone who really has accountability for an ROI, a return on investment, and maybe even the bottom line. What a product generates, what a product brings, food that's put on the plate, essentially. I can share with you some of my personal observations as well over years, and see if maybe you have any thoughts on that. Yeah, it's not uncommon when you look at the large, complex, multi-layered, multi-tiered organization that they already have some sort of organizational pecking order, even on the business side. And it's usually in a very legacy, very traditional form, such as portfolio managers, have many program managers underneath, and maybe even further down into project managers, as they mentioned. So what ends up happening is that like a knee-jerk reaction. The first thing, Plan A. What do? We want to do this thing called less and less huge, and they have this very minimalistic hierarchy. Well, it's really, let me take this back. It's not even a hierarchy because an area product owner and product owner shouldn't be connected by a reporting structure. There are different focus areas that each person has, but they look at this graphic and say, oh, so it's one underneath the other, and we have this tower already created in our system. So, and they end up creating these dotted lines and saying, oh, an area product owner? That would be like a a program manager, like one XYZ level. And the product owner, the overall product owner, let's map this into our existing org structure. And we end up with the same exact people that essentially do not manage or do not do any work in the dimension, within the dimension of a true product. They now run the show and essentially set priorities that are around technologies, domains of functional expertise, shared platforms, infrastructure.
Which goes back to the product boundary
componentized approach to this they take. So
to avoid I won't go too deep into that, but frequently a poor choice of product owner is coupled with an insufficiently broad product boundary. And if you fix the product boundary, sometimes it helps to fix the other.
Yeah. So you actually bring a great point. I bumped into this as well. Defining a product, I almost think of this as like a face control. Before you let someone in a bar, you have to understand and make sure this person is of right age, appropriate age, and they're properly dressed. Who gets to say what a product is actually matters. So when you sit around the table, when you invite people to define a product, you want to make sure you have right people doing that, right? Otherwise, we'll be defining this in a very awkward way. I don't know what else is standing out. And this subject of product ownership in less huge, another. I think we mentioned this in passing, but it's probably important to stress. It is not a mandate. In fact, this may even work against us. If an area product owner, there should be multiple, right? If at least more than one area, they absolutely must report into the PO. So that's where we also see anomalies. Try not to map your traditional organizational structure and reporting structure to Scrum, large-scale Scrum.
I think the key message there, as you're talking
design.
about area product owners, is that requirement areas may come and go over time, and you want them to come and go over time, and you don't want there to be artificial organizational friction that manifests because of your structure, that makes it not fluid to just say, well, it doesn't make sense now, right? And if you have, say, a traditional product that is, an item on a shelf, or it may be on a pallet that people buy, that's some hardware firmware product, where the area product owners are people truly from product management. Well, there will be a mountain of things for these people to stay busy with that are product focused, and they're not going to be worried that, oh, I'm not, all of a sudden we collapse 3 requirement areas down to 2, and what does that mean to me who no longer has that area product owner role? Well, I'm so busy doing other things, I'm not worried about it, because, think through those things.
I've been nodding my head because this is such a strong point. Over time, areas do tend to come and go. So it's just a business decision, right? In the next few years, this area may grow and bring more revenue, so let's build it up, as opposed to another area that may need to shrink. If we map this, if we hard link it to existing roles in traditional org structure, we may create some frictions between people. What do you mean?
And it's worth saying that requirement areas are a lesser evil to begin with. You don't really want requirement areas. If you can get away with a single requirement area, you're so much better off. It's simply that at some scale, typically above 8 teams, it becomes more work. Even with the teams doing most of the elaboration, it becomes more work than one human can handle as a product owner, and you're the cognitive load is too great, and you end up
as
having to introduce requirement areas. But you don't want to in the first place.
Yeah. I see. I totally subscribe to this. In fact, if we didn't see this happening, we would see much fewer of those microscopic, small, like fractional so-called areas supported by 1.5 to 2 teams. Right. With the pretension, hey, this is an area. This is really not an area. You're trying to granularize your so-called product so everyone in the org structure is labeled to an APO.
Instead of being on the team, which would be much more rewarding in many cases.
The opposite of what we wish to do. Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so thanks for bouncing around this idea. I mean, this is a pretty pressing topic for me, and I'm sure for you too. Also understanding this sometimes needs to be reset for companies.
I agree. Any quick thoughts on wrap-up? I mean,
because
I guess we didn't cover, there is the external product, which is the...
Oh, yeah. We can simply probably mention that if we were to look at the different types of product development holistically, there would be a product. There could be products that are developed for external customers, true customers, people that pay us hard cash. By doing so, increase our return on investment, and those are clearly defined. Sometimes they come in thousands or hundreds of thousands or millions, and that's why we need some of the product management that is customer facing to play the role of product owner. At times, we also have product development that is purely internal, like I think you mentioned in passing, like if you have someone who is like a head of claims department who plays the role of PO, or head of HR, or head of reconciliation desk, or KYC, like know your client. Those would be internal users. But those are two major ones. There's a third one, like when you treat another company like a vendor company that does 100% product development for you as a customer, probably less.
Well, and that third way is very risky.
Because they usually are clients.
So there are narrow cases where it can make sense. But generally, it causes more problems than it solves.
Right.
So,
anything that's adaptive is better off to be done in house by your own people. So you're not contractual, and you can.
Well, Gene, I don't have anything more unless you do.
And dynamic on planning. So, I think we have kind of exhausted this. If people have any questions, they will reach out to us and ask for more information. But.
That's right, and we would love to see comments. This is Gene and I are posting this on LinkedIn, usually on our videos. Exactly. We are posting it on the Agile Carpentry YouTube channel, so you can see Gene and I there. And I have recently also started publishing a podcast version of this, which is the same thing, sometimes with video, sometimes without, on as under Agile Carpentry, same as the YouTube. And in the case of Spotify, you can see the videos. In the other cases, you can't. But if you have ideas for a next discussion, please let us know, and we will be happy to look at those. So.
Please do. Yep. Excellent.
Same here,
Well,
Gene.
great chatting with you.
Always good to see you.